All right. Hello, everybody. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you're joining us today. Welcome to the Upskill 2.0 program from Nexo Girls. And this is day 2. Yesterday, we had an amazing time with Fortune Evo, teaching us no-code web development. And today, we're going to be jumping right into another skill. So first of all, we're just going to watch a quick video about testimonials from the Upskill 1.0 that we hosted in 2021.
Every journey they say begins with a single step, but I think that it is the unique footprints we leave that truly defines us. Hi there, I am Eunice Adeosi, and my journey began as a response to the challenges I witnessed growing up. Raised in a small family that struggled financially after losing my father at age 9, I faced harsh realities. However, instead of giving up, I saw this as an opportunity to empower myself and other females in similar situations. My gap year was when I discovered my passion for tech, advocacy, leadership, and volunteering. Driven by a strong desire to alleviate poverty and challenge gender stereotypes that I noticed in my rural community at the time in Lagos State, Nigeria, I founded Female Youth Global Empowerment, an NGO that equips young women with globally demanded skills to narrow gender gap in tech by promoting digital literacy and fostering the inclusion of women in STEM fields. So far, we have reached over 2,500 youths. I organized the Global 16 Days of Activism Against Gender-Based Violence campaign at ALU. The campaign brought together diverse advocates from 15 African countries, India, Haiti, and Japan, and we reached a total of 34,796 people with our message.
Hello everyone, my name is Blessing and I've been volunteering with the Female Youth Global Empowerment for the past 3 years. And being part of FYGE has been incredibly amazing, I must say. I've had the opportunity to network with people, make new friends, like Salma, Kimiradin, Pixel, Sophia, and so many others. And I've also had the opportunity to work in different teams as a team member and also a team leader. And yeah, it's really been an amazing moment with FYG. And one of my favorite moments was in 2021, December, where we had the 1-week intensive digital training class, Upskill 1.0. And I was part of the participants. I had the opportunity to learn different things about the importance of LinkedIn optimization, brand marketing, brand awareness, content creation, the importance of volunteering, and it was really an eye-opener for me. And I feel it's moments like this that reminds me of the impact we are making here at FYG. So yeah, I'm really proud to be part of an organization that is making a real difference in the lives of young girls. And I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Hi, I'm the Moderator and I was the beneficiary of FYG's Upskill program in 2021. I learned about 80 digital skills in 8 days and got certified. FYG helped me discover my passion for technology and web development. Also helped my passion for content writing to be more intense. One of the skills we taught was web development. Anyone who is interested in web development, I found this lesson very engaging and very valuable. And that's why after the Upskill program, I decided to further pursue web development by enrolling in a training where I learned how to use HTML and CSS to create a 3-page website on my phone. In essence, the Upskill program opened my eyes to see hidden gems in web development. Another skill was freelancing, which was taught by Lena Robert, where I learned how to use my skills to make more money. So I am someone who is passionate about content writing and SEO. The freelancing class opened my eyes to certain platforms where I can actually earn money and I will not be restricted by monthly pay. I never thought that I was actually going to learn so much in just 8 days and get certified, but FYG made this possible and I'm super grateful for the opportunity. Thank you, FYG.
These are just few of the many success stories FYG has helped to create through education, digital literacy, and empowerment. And we are shaping the next future female leaders.
We cannot wait for the government to cause a change, which is why I believe in grassroots initiatives to provoke the change that we want to see.
National missions to empower young girls have created a more inclusive and equitable society. Visits are linked to learn more about how the can get involved.
Thank you, and I can't wait for the exciting experiences ahead.
We can make a difference.
All right. So those were just a few testimonials from our upskill program in 2021. In case you're confused, when you were hearing FYGE, Female Youth Global Empowerment, we were formerly known as FYGE before we rebranded and became Nexo Girls. So make sure you pay attention, make sure you stay focused, completely focused on this, because those testimonials, that could be you when we're collecting feedback for next year, for this year rather. All right, so let's move into the agenda. So for today, first, we're just going to have a welcome address and housekeeping rules. Then we'll go through what Nexo Girls is and intro to the upskill program. Then the much anticipated speaker session. Then Q&A for any of your questions, and then closing remarks. All right, so yes, you must be wondering, who am I? Who is this person on the screen? My name is Theodora Omunizua, and I am the events coordinator, a volunteer at Nexo Girls. If you are already in the WhatsApp group, if you've already been with us from yesterday, you probably know who I am. But if you don't, yeah, this is me, Theodora Omunizua, and I will be your moderator for today. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to day 2 of the Upskill 2.0 program. All right. So just a few rules. This meeting is on YouTube live chat. I know you're joining through YouTube, so just a few rules that we need to keep. Feel free to share your questions or comments in the live chat. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, just feel free to, put them in the chat, and then the moderators would relay those questions to the speakers. All right. Secondly, this session is being recorded for promotional and educational purposes. So if you have a problem with it, just joining, you've already given us consent to your comments being visible. And if your picture is also in your account, it will also be visible in the recording. So just be mindful of that in case you are not really comfortable with that kind of thing. And then lastly, if you experience any interruptions, or it's probably something with your network, try refreshing your browser, check your internet connection. I know we had some issues yesterday. Don't give up, please. Keep reloading. Try a different network. If you have to stand on the top of your roof to make sure you get network, please do. All right. So yeah, so what is Nexo Girls and what is the Upskill program? So Nexo Girls, as I had said already, we were formerly known as the Female Youth Global Empowerment, which is FYGE, and we are a non-profit organization that are dedicated to promoting gender equity and digital literacy among women. In STEAM, that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, and also in social advocacy to alleviate poverty and stop gender stereotypes. So yeah, that's basically who we are. You can also check the link in our bio to know more about us. But yeah, welcome to the community. And then what is the Upskill program? So actually, this is the second version, the second upskill program that we are having. It is our flagship initiative at Nexo Girls. And what it is basically is an 8-day program that's dedicated to teaching 8 essential skills. So not just in technology, leadership, personal development, through a large plethora of speakers, professional speakers. We carefully, pick these speakers. We carefully reach out to these speakers to handle these sessions so that you will get the most and the best out of these sessions. So make sure you pay attention. Make sure you make use of this opportunity. All right. So we have many skills. Yesterday we did no-code web development. There's personal branding. There's there's content writing, freelancing, so many others, so many skills, and you do not want to miss all the information that the speakers are going to be giving you through this session. All right. So yes, here it says empowering young women, but for this year it is open to male and female. So please feel welcome to make the most out of this program. Yes, so if you're excited for Upskill 2.0, come on, give me emojis in the chat, heart emojis, fire emojis, your favorite emoji, whatever it is, just type it in the chat, flood with those emojis. Let's just spam the chat with emojis. Yes, I can see the excitement. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And welcome, welcome, welcome. A big congratulations, by the way, for signing up for this program. You have already taken the first steps, to mastering whatever skill it is that you are interested in. So congratulations on taking this huge step and good luck on the journey. Make sure that after this program, you don't just leave your notes on the side. Go back to it, take other programs, take other lessons that would help you build on that. All right. So yeah, let's move on. Yes, this is some testimonials from yesterday's program. You can see someone says, I felt glad to learn WordPress basics from Fortune and experts. I discovered WordPress and learned about its incredible importance and sorry. I'm so glad to have watched this even after the live. Yes, this live is still available even after. So make sure if you're not sure of anything, after you ask a question, you can always come back to watch it on our channel. Okay? It was cool. I'm looking forward to day 2. Awesome. I hope you're here, whoever put this comment. It was educative and fun at the same time. Yes, absolutely. I think it's informative. I encourage you all to keep it up. Yeah, thank you so much for all your responses. If you want your comments to be featured on our slides for tomorrow, make sure you fill in the feedback form. We're going to send a feedback form, so make sure you fill in the feedback form. All right? So yeah. Now we're just going to go into our guest speaker for today. Are we excited? Are we excited? Yes, the skill for today is something very interesting, very, very interesting. I can't wait. I'm so, so excited. All right, so let's see who's for day 2. Drum rolls. Awesome, awesome, amazing. Are you ready, guys? Did you see that bio? We have a professional video editor. You can see we've sent his work. Guys, are you ready? Show me that you're ready. Let me see the excitement. I need to feel it from whichever country you're in. I need to feel the excitement. All right. So without further ado, to take us into the video editing session for Upskill 2.0, I'm going to call on Olaniyi Olufemi. Olaniyi, are you with us?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Olaniyi.
I hope you're all doing fine, and glad to be hosting this session and ready to walk you guys through everything you need to know if you are interested in starting a career as a video editor, and how you can also scale your career from just learning the basics from beginner to being a professional and everything you need to know. So I'll share my screen, and please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, so the video has basically said an introduction about me. So my name is Olaniyi Olufemi, and I am someone who is always interested in building solutions, and also who is very, very interested in creating and editing and just being as creative as I can be. So today I'll be walking you guys through video editing, everything you need to know as a beginner, and so on, and we'll go through some couple of practicals, and we'll see what tool you should use as a beginner, and when you're developing your skill, which other tool you should move into, and so on and so forth. So we'll be starting with video editing, and first off is our agenda. So we have intro to video editing, tools used in editing, even if I want to edit, what should I use in doing that? We also have an intro to CapCut. I'll go through CapCut, some cool things and some cool features you can use with CapCut. I also have AI tools for editing. So we are moving into a world of artificial intelligence. What can you do? How can you work faster with AI? And then I'll be open for some questions. So the first thing is, what is video editing basically? But before we even get into what is video editing, I would want to explain how a video actually works in the first place. So he said, what is a video? This might seem like, oh, it's just a very simple question, but for you to actually know how editing works, you should know how a video is being captured in the first place. So a video, it says, is a digital moving visual images. Just to explain, I have this image. Now, when you're taking a picture, normally on your phone, on your camera, is just take a frame. Now, there's something in video editing or when you're working digitally with pictures, with designs, blah blah blah, everything of such. There's something we call a frame. A frame is basically a picture. I will put it, that's a frame. So a second, or like a still, a standing image, something that is not moving, that's a particular frame. So now, when you take images, you are taking a frame, just a picture. You are just taking a frame. You're just taking a second, or the second that action happened. You are capturing a frame within that particular movement. I just stand still. You took a picture. That's a frame that you've captured. But when you talk about videos, how videos work is you are capturing thousands or like many frames every second. That's why if you are very familiar with cameras, you see something that tell you 30 fps, 24 fps. That means the camera every second is capturing tons of images. So depending on how many frames or how many images you want the camera to capture per second. So if I'm saying my camera is capturing a video at 30 fps, that means my camera is capturing 30 frames. That means 30 images per second. So that's why you see now this is just an image, this is just something. For example, this one can be like something around very very low fps, or I should say high fps if it's something like in slow motion and you want the quality. But this one is something very fast, that means it should be like around 30 fps or something like that. So the way video works is your camera is basically just capturing tons of images every second, and after every second when you save it, what it just does is combines the transition or the sequence of those images together, so you can actually play it as a video instead of as an image. So even when you put your video in a software editing tool, you can still see each of those frames, each of those images, each of those 30 frames that are being captured every second individually. So, but at the end of the day, it also depends on the frames per second you are shooting at. Cameras have a feature for you to control your frames per second, and some phones like Samsung or iPhone also has a feature for you to control your frames per second. But most time, that's just how a video works. So a video is capturing a lot of frame at a particular time. So that's all about video. I hope we all understand. Now we've understand how video works, what video is really all about, and the difference, what makes it different from normal images. Now, what is video editing? So the video editing is the process of combining and manipulating video clips of frames to create a final video project. So all those videos you've captured, all those frames that you've captured, all of those things, how do you match them together to form a story, or to form what someone will be interested in watching? Just like we have big movies, all of those stuff, everything was shot once. They shoot everything and then they brought it into their computers, their software editing tools, and they edited it for you to have a full movie. And that will also bring me back to, if you are really interested in video editing and everything of such, and that important thing is also about videography, because all of these things have processes. So when you're trying to, let's say I'm trying to shoot a film, a full movie of an hour, I don't just grab a camera and then go and start shooting. So there it has different processes. You plan for the shoot, which location, how do we shoot this, what camera angle are we using, and then you will actually start shooting. You do all the shooting, and then you move into post production, which is where you edit, where you alter things digitally, and then you have your final video project. That's just all about video and video editing, what you need to know. So all of this process are actually what happens in the back end for you to be able to watch, or to watch that content on TikTok, or to watch that full movie on YouTube, on Netflix, everything of such. There are a lot of processes that goes into it. A lot of frames were captured, and a lot of editing were being done. So moving on, we have tools used in editing. So, um, in as much as we can capture, be creative, be wild with what we are shooting, how we are shooting it, different angles, have a very super nice camera. In the end of the day, what actually happens to all of these clips is how you make use of them. So, if I'm having like Sony FX3, a very super high quality camera, but then my editing skills is very, very terrible, that means I'm just having an expensive camera for nothing. So even if my camera can shoot higher quality, I'm having 4K footage, very good footage. So at the end of the day, we need to come back to these tools to be able to help us restructure and redesign what we have in our minds already. So and that thing is also, it just depends on, and that thing is also, if you are trying to pursue a career in video editing, you should also know the background of how these videos are being captured. That means that will go back to videography, because if you literally have no idea of what what a shutter speed is, what how many frames are captured per second, all of those stuff, when you're editing, it can be an issue for you, because some of those technicalities also apply to you when you're editing, even though majority of people use them while shooting in person. But even when you're editing, some of those technicalities also apply to you deeply, because if you're trying to edit on, example is a software like DaVinci Resolve, it will ask you how many frames per second did you shoot at when you are shooting the video, and then you have to give it an answer so it can optimize your videos and your frames to that particular frame per second that you've listed. So all of these things are very important. While you are exploring the video editing side of things, you should also try to look at videography, um, how a camera works, try to shoot videos yourself and edit them yourself. All of these things can be very helpful to you. And in terms of being versatile, when you get a job, you can edit videos. Why can't you undo a camera? Is a very common question. So those are also things you should look into and you should try to take note of. So let's come back to tools in editing. So we have different tools in editing depending on what you want to do. So number one is we have Adobe Premiere Pro, and Adobe Premiere Pro is out of all these things that have been listed, all these tools that have been listed, we have two that are like professional tools. That means if you want to get a job in a let me just use a big company, in an average company, in a big agency, and edit videos for them, all of this stuff, you will need to know one of these tools, because those tools are like the industry standard. And these are the first two, which are Adobe Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve. So Adobe Premiere Pro is a video editing software that was created by Adobe. I'm pretty sure most of you might not know about Adobe, but Adobe is a franchise that creates tools, softwares. So if you heard of Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, so all those tools are created by Adobe. So Adobe is just a franchise that is very crazy and very interested in creating softwares that can make people as creative as they want to be. So Adobe Premiere Pro is one of them and is often regarded as the industry standard. And after that, but the thing with Adobe Premiere Pro is you can only use it on a desktop computer, maybe your Windows or your MacBook, and it is also paid. So I think the subscription for Adobe Premiere Pro should be around, is very expensive. You can check it online. I wouldn't mention that price here. But Adobe Premiere Pro is paid. And on next on the list is DaVinci Resolve. So DaVinci Resolve is actually one of the best competitors to Adobe Premiere Pro, because DaVinci Resolve works just like Premiere Pro, and I can even say better because I use DaVinci Resolve. And one of the features or one of the standards of DaVinci Resolve is the color grading features. So just to digress a little bit, when you're editing videos, when you're doing all of this stuff, there's things in video editing that you need to take note of. An example is sound design. Sound design is in terms of, if I'm outside, I'm in a nature, I'm in wildlife. Sorry, I'm trying to explain here. I mean, let's say I'm in a national reserve park. What type of sound is my video capturing? Am I hearing just people crying or something like that, compared to when I'm on the street where there are lots of cars? How am I producing that sound? How am I making that sound communicate with anyone that is watching my video? That's a part of video editing that is important. Another part of video editing that is important is color grading. An example color grading I'll give you is, when you're watching horror movies, you can see a lot of difference to when you're watching um a funny movie, a what do you call it? Let's just put as funny movie, for example, Mr. Bean. So horror movie are often having these dark colors, black, deep blue colors, all of the stuff. When you're watching a comedy like a comedy movie, you will see more of light colors. So color grading can also go in a long way how your video communicates with anybody that is watching it. So even though we are talking about video, it's not video editing, it's not just taking one clip, two clip, three clips, put them together and you have your video edited. No, it also goes to how does your video communicate with anyone watching it? What do they think? How do they reason when they watch it? How do they show emotions when they watch it? That's another part of it. So as we go into the videos, I'll also talk more about some components in videos or video editing that we should take note of. So coming back to the DaVinci Resolve, DaVinci Resolve is free. It has a standard version which is free, but it also has a pro version which is paid. But there isn't really a lot of difference between the paid version and the free version, because it's mostly almost the same thing. So the paid version just gives you some capabilities, some features like um adding people to your workspace. You want a manager to come and see what you've edited, and you don't want to save the video and send it to him. You can just add him to your workspace. You've used everything, gives his comments, and then you continue your work. But the free version too is just standard for you. It has everything you need compared to Adobe Premiere Pro, which is just paid. You only have a trial of about 1 month, and after that, if you can't pay, everything you've done is gone. Now, moving on, we have the popularly known CapCut. So, one of the reasons why CapCut is very popular is because of how easy it has made um editing be. So, I can say CapCut literally make everyone a creator. So, I don't need to spend tons of hours on tutorials on YouTube before I'm able to edit my video, when I can just, with a simple click, I can just add an effect on CapCut. Even professional editors, when they feel like they have a very simple project to make use of, they use CapCut, because there's no need for me to start stressing myself on Adobe Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve when I can use CapCut. So today we'll be taking a look at CapCut, explaining some things and everything like that. And also, CapCut was formerly free, but now it's a paid software. But there's a way I would be telling you a few ways you can use the free version of CapCut. Yeah, it's kind of paid, but then you can use it for free of CapCut. Moving on, we have Filmora. So I haven't really done anything. I haven't used a lot of Filmora, but Filmora is also like DaVinci Resolve. It has a free version and then it has a paid version. So DaVinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere Pro, Filmora is also sometimes regarded as an industry standard because it also has a lot of capabilities, and it gives you this chance to be very explorable and very creative as much as you want. So today we'll be going into CapCut. Who is ready? Let's give emojis if you are ready to dive into CapCut. Now you might think, oh, I've used CapCut a lot of times, but there are things you can literally do on CapCut that you could never think of. CapCut is actually even competing with Adobe Premiere Pro and DaVinci Resolve because of how efficient and how functional it is as a small editing tool as it is that you can have your mobile phone. And out of all of these tools, is only CapCut that you can have on your mobile phone. So if you don't have a desktop computer, maybe a MacBook or a Windows computer, you can still use CapCut on your mobile phone. and that won't limit you. But compared to others, which is Adobe Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Filmora, you can't have those on your mobile phones. And also another thing, CapCut is actually one of the best, I would say the best video editing tools you can have on your mobile phone. When you compare it to competitors, um it performs very much more than every other one. So let's dive into CapCut. I hope we are all ready. So I will exit my slide for now and then we come back. So we have CapCut. So if you are trying to use CapCut, you can download CapCut on Play Store, or if you are using an iPhone iOS device, you can download Play Store. You can download CapCut on your App Store, and if you are using a Windows version, you can download CapCut on the official website. So just type CapCut on your search bar on your Google, and then the first one on the page, that's CapCut's website. You can easily download it for free on their website. But recently CapCut made some changes to their software. So previously it was free, but now it is paid. So for you to bypass the payments and everything, what you just simply need to do is make use of the older version of CapCut that was free. So previously when CapCut was free, I can make use of auto captions. That means CapCut can just easily help me add captions and text to my video without me having to do it manually. But now that feature is paid. But on in the previous version of CapCut, all of those features are absolutely free, and you can get all of those features. The other versions of CapCut, I would advise you to use a version that is around 2.4 or something. For people using Windows, use a version that is around 2.4. I think I can help you guys find the free version for mobile. I don't really know the free version, which when on what version the free one stopped for mobile for like Android apps. I can find that, but if you're using a Windows, you can definitely find that it is around version 2.4. If you can download version 2.4, everything and install it on your computer, everything you'll be using is free. So, and if you're looking for other versions, you can just go to your Google and just type CapCut up to down. So up to down, and then you can other versions. You can see other versions. CapCut for Windows. I can click on that, just the second link or the first link, and then I can find the other versions. So I can find the other versions of CapCut and then look for the version I want that I know is free, around this one, version 2.4. And you can even try version 2.5 if it would be free, but I think version 2.4 is definitely free. So you can download that, install it on your computer, and then you have a free paid version of CapCut, basically. So let's dive in then. But another thing to note is when you download and install it, do not sign in, because when you sign in, it updates your CapCut, and then it makes it tells CapCut engine that you are having an older version, and then it can really load in the payment feature in for you. So do not sign in into any account, just use your CapCut as it is. And if you see any feature asking you to sign in, just ignore that and just proceed, so you won't have to start reinstalling, uninstalling, everything like that. So I'm here in CapCut, and the first thing I want to do is add a new project. So these are all the previous projects I've been working on before, and as you can see, I have about 48 projects I've worked on, and this has been since like 2023, 2022, kind of. And I've worked on a lot of videos, worked on a lot of projects, but today I'll just be showing you what you can do with CapCut and how easy it is. So we can start. To start, you just have to come here and click on a new project. It's as easy as that. And if you are trying to, if you're someone as a load, I'll just say this: if you're someone who is trying to pursue a career in video editing and you're absolute beginner, try CapCut first before trying to move into industry standard tools like DaVinci Resolve. Because one thing about being a designer, being a video editor is majority of the software that you're working with have similar interfaces. So if you can familiarize yourself with one interface, moving into another interface will be very, very easy for you, because this this timeline, the way this place is structured, is literally the way DaVinci Resolve is structured, the way Premiere Pro is structured, even Filmora is structured. So if you're trying to move into a more industry standard tool, there's no need for you to start thinking of, oh, this is my first time with this tool. You can literally just open it, press a few buttons, know what the button do, and then you can get familiarize yourself with the tool as time proceed. So start with CapCut, which is just a beginner's friendly tool. Understand everything. What are filters? How do I color grade? What is this? What is that? And we are moving into learning a more industry professional tool. You'll be very easy. You'll get it very easy compared to when you're just jumping into that tool directly. So that being said, we are now in our video editing tool, which is CapCut. You can see I have various tabs here. I have this, I have this box, I have this box, I have this, and then I have this rectangular one. So quickly I will explain what all of this do. So over here, when you come to this box, this is majorly your functions panel, I will call it, or your tools panel. So this is where you have access to features like audio, your text, your stickers, everything, every resources that you need to create your videos. So all my videos that I'll be editing, I'll put them under my media. If I need an audio to help me, like I want to add the background music, something like that, I can find it in audio. I want to add the text, is in text, stickers, everything like that. That's basically all the capabilities you have to create your videos. Now coming to this side is your player. So when we put in a video, you'll be able to see your player easily. So what your player does is your player shows you what your video is like as you are editing. And then on this side, as we proceed, I will explain this side. So what side does is this side is your properties panel, I'll say. So whatever I'm editing here, I can see the size of the text I'm adding, the type of video, the opacity of the video, the volume of the video or the audio, everything will be on the side. And this is one important panel, and this panel is called your timeline. So in order to explain the timeline, the player, and then the properties panel, I will put in a simple video. Now to add a video to your CapCut is very easy. You can do it in two ways. You can either drag or drop, or you can just go to your media. Sorry, you can go to your media, you can import, look for where you want that video, where that video is on your desktop or on your mobile phone. Let's say I record a lot of videos actually, so I'll just pick one of mine, my contents. Let's just say new videos. Okay, I don't have anything there. Let's just say Kigali one. Okay, let's say I want to edit. Give me a minute. Yeah, let's say I just want to edit a background, a video that is just about I am moving, what I did, the pictures and the videos I've taken. So I've seen the video I want to use. Let's say I'm starting with this. I click on it and then I just open it. Then it loads on my timeline. Actually, it doesn't load on your timeline. That's a misdirection from my part. So what it does is it comes into your media section. So when it comes to your media section, if it's a video that you want to use, you can easily drag it and then drop it on your timeline. This part is called your timeline. So but if it's a video that you don't want to use, sorry, let me mute that. If it's a video that you don't want to use, you can leave it on your media until you want to use it. So let's say I'm using this video, I'm making use of this video, I can drag it into my timeline. Now when I drag it into my timeline, you can see it is loaded on my player. So everything on my timeline will be seen on my player here, right here. And then you can see the details or the properties of this particular video. So this video is 10 seconds long. You can see that we here. So this also a timer for you. This actually, another thing you should notice, this is showing the length of your timeline, not the length of your video, this particular thing. So this is the total length of my timeline, but this player right here, this dragging slider thing, is at the 6th second or the 3rd second of this particular video. Now, the reason why I said this one is showing the total length of your timeline is because of this. Let's add an audio. Let's just add a simple background video. Let me check my downloads and I just find a song. um I was editing recently, so I had a couple of music. So let me add this. Now you see it's showing on my media panel, so I can easily drag it because I want to use it. Drag it on my timeline and then just readjust it. And you can readjust by just holding and then dragging. So if I want to move this, I can hold it and then drag it, but it's going back to this place. I'll explain that further on. But we have our audio already. Now when you come back to this place, you can see it is 3 minutes 59 seconds, 57 seconds actually. Now that's because this is the length of the audio, but is the total length of the timeline. So if I'm to add, let's say I add a simple text at, sorry, let's say I will explain how to add text later, but just for us to understand the length of the timeline is different from the length of a video. Let's say I'm adding a text very long out here. Now there's literally nothing here, but you can see the length has increased to 6 minutes. So everything you are seeing here is the length of your timeline, not the length of your video. So you might, when you're editing, you might forgot the text here and you thought, oh, the video is 6 minutes long. So it might not be 6 minutes long, it might just be this long, but you just have something lost somewhere. So that being noted, let's go back to our properties of our video and our timeline. So I'll come back here and we have this video. Let's go back to this video. So we have our properties here. So we can see that the video is being scaled to 100%. So I can make the video larger with my scale or make it smaller. And if I make a change and I don't want the way it looks, I can come back here to this cross icon and then I undo. So I've dropped it. Let's say I increase to 150%, but I don't like it. I can easily come back here and say, okay, I want it back at 100%, or I can also manually just adjust it back to 100% like this. Depends on what you want. And so you have the blend, you have the stabilize. If you have like a very shaky footage, let's say you are new to videography and taking pictures and you need to take something while you are moving, and when you finish recording you see that the camera the video was very shaky and it wasn't being stabilized, you can easily make use of this stabilize tool to stabilize your video. So let's even actually see, maybe I can find a video that was shaky and we can demonstrate the stabilize tool. So let's go back to our media because we want to add a new picture, new video. I can find the video I'm looking for. Let's see. We have a lot of videos here. Let me look for something on my own. Um, yeah, so give me a minute to just find something to demonstrate. Let's try AOU. Yeah, this was a very shaky footage. So I've loaded this into my media, then I can just drag it into my timeline and then I will mute so the audio won't disturb us because it's not a really super nice audio. I'll mute it. So we have these functions here. I'll just explain mute. Mute is to shut down all the sound on this particular timeline. I will still get back into that also. So let's mute and then I play. Okay, let's mute the second one too. So you can see the video shaking up and down, even though it's not a lot, but it's literally shaking a little bit. So if I don't want those shaking, what I can just do is come to stabilize. I can say, okay, recommended stabilization, but I really want it to be very stable. I can put it in most stable and then it processes that for me. So that's that for stabilization. And That's why I said CapCut is a really nice tool for you. That's on that on stabilization. Let's come back to our timeline. On this timeline, you can see I have my video here and I have my audio here. Why is it that way? Why can't the video and the audio just be on one timeline? The reason is you might have different clips, you might have thousands and thousands of clips. Now, CapCut doesn't want you to mix your video with your audio. They want it to be different, so you can easily tell I'm editing a video, I'm editing an audio. So that's one of the reasons why we have our videos up and our audios down. Now, if you can see my audios are down. If I'm to add another audio, let's just say I'm adding a simple audio. Downloads. Let me just use this water flowing gently. Drag it into my timeline. This is not a very loud audio, so let's import something that is better. Um, yeah, let's choose this. And I drag onto my timeline. You can see that the audio is below the original one. The reason why it's doing like this, why it gives you this feature, is because if you want to mix this, if you want to just have this cut like this and start here, instead of cutting this particular one and putting this in middle, you can just leave this below and then just cut however you want. Now another thing is also you can see that each of these audios are distributed into something we call layers. So if you're familiar with Photoshop, you should be familiar with layers, but layers is just the way every element or every object inside your editing tool is being arranged, on your timeline is being arranged. So it's just like on the top I have take me home audio, and below take me home audio I have shield songs. Below shield songs I can have any other audio I want. So the way it is being arranged, that's the reason for layers. So if I want shield songs to go on top of take me home, I can easily just drag it over it. So I can say take me home, come back up, select this song, shield song, hold it and then drag it. I can say shield songs come up. Now for your layers, it is just making it is making it very easy for you to be able to put something on top of each other. Now when you are doing this, also know that the way your layers are arranged there, that's the way they'll be arranged on your footage. Let's try an example with the video. Now I have my video here, one two video. I can easily just take this and then drag it up. Now when I have the stabilized footage above the 2024 blah 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 footage, what happens is this. So you can see it is being placed over it, and that's the function of layer. And when you check my layers, the layers on my timeline, I have this stabilized footage over this particular footage. On your mobile phone, it is called overlay. So for example, if I want this to come up over this, I can just click it and then choose overlay. But if you're using a Windows version, it is very easy for you because you can just easily take it and drag it on top of it. So you can see my footage is actually on top of it, and that's the same way they are arranged on the timeline. The layers are arranged on the timeline. And when you check each of these layers, you can see a little, when you come to this side, you can see a little button. I will explain those buttons very fast. So the first button, when we start from the right hand side, is mute. So what mute means is I don't want the video to make noise. For example, to have any sound. For example, let's know this and let's play. You can hear some audios, but I don't want it to have any sound. I can easily mute it and then I don't hear anything. Now when this function is sufficient is if you are only having one clip on your timeline, or you are all the clips on that particular layers on your timeline, layer of your timeline, you don't want it, you want it muted. So that's when this is functional. But if you're having two clips on a layer, let's say this layer on my timeline, this is a layer. Now another thing to notice, when I say a layer, I'm talking about a length that contains different clips. So if I'm having one video, does not mean that video is a layer. So this is a layer, but I'm only having one footage or one clip or one element on that layer. That's another thing to take note. So for example, this layer, I'm having this layer, but I'm having two objects on this layer, video one, video two. Now I have video one and video two, and I only want video one to have sound. I don't want video two to have sound. Instead of muting the entire layer here, I can just come to video two that I don't want it to have sound, select it, and then I can go into my audio and say volume. I want volume to be reduced till the end. So that's how to reduce the volume. But for me, I just want everything muted. So we can go back. Now we have that. So I'll drag this to another layer and then we continue. Now, when you look at this layer, you can see because layer one is on top of layer two, you can see this. So what we can do here is I can hide this track. I don't want to see that one. So even if I'm saving, I'm exporting, I can't see that particular layer. So we can hide this, and then another thing we can do is lock. So lock basically means I'm locking all of those layers. I can't move anything on that layer. I can't select anything on that layer because I don't want to mess with it. I don't want anything to happen to that particular layer. So I leave that layer as it is. I lock it. And then we have these icons which are the last, and basically what these icons are telling you is the type of layer you have. So we can have a video layer, we can have an audio layer, we can have a text layer, we can have an effect layer. So if you are confused about the type of layer that you are on, you can easily check. So for this square one, it's telling me I'm on a video layer. For this one with audio, it's telling me I'm on audio layer. So that's it noted. So that's everything you need to know about your timeline. Basics you need to know about your timeline, and other basics you need to know about your timeline. You can come here, you can see this main track magnet tool. So this basically what this magnet tool does is, let's say I want to shorten this clip. The clip is 10 seconds long, right? I don't want it to be 10 seconds long anymore. I want it to be like 5 seconds long. What I can do is I can just take my mouse or my slider, I can drag till the end right here and say that's enough. So but when you see when I was dragging, let's do that again. I clicked on it, I dragged to cut it. And when you see how when I was dragging, this footage was moving with it. That's because I have a magnet tool enabled on my track or my timeline. So anything I do on track one, it adjusts the length of that particular layer or the particular timeline automatically. So if I'm dragging this, it just adjusts basically immediately automatically. So that's the function of my magnet tool. So another thing my magnet tool does is, let's say I don't want the footage to start at the 0 second. I want it to start like maybe like 0.5, but it's not possible because my magnet tool is enabling me to start at the very beginning. So if you don't want the magnet tool can be very efficient if you are doing something simple. But if you are doing something more complicated with a lot of cuts, a lot of blackouts, something like that, you would want to turn off the magnet tool. So let's say I turn off the magnet tool. This magnet tool right here, I turn it off, and then I adjust the length of my track. You see it's not moving. It's giving me this space, which is a blackout. So for me to now start adjusting the track, I have to take this clip and then drag it automatic manually. So that's a lot of time wastage when you can just easily just cut it and it adjusts the length automatically. So that's for a magnet tool. We have a couple of other tools here. An example is also auto snapping. What auto snapping does is, let's say let me use an example. Auto snapping is just like I have these two clips and I want them to be at the same point, to stop at the same point. To start, this one should start when this one stops. So when I'm trying to place it at this exact point, you see I cannot really get where it is. Let me try to zoom in on my timeline. When I zoom in, I can get it, but when I'm zoomed out, yeah, let's say I'm zoomed out right here, I can't really get where that particular video stops. So that's why you use auto snapping. Auto snapping just helps you take whatever you are moving, and then you can see this blue line that tells you, oh, this is where the video stops, and then you can just drop your video. Just a little digress a little bit. I talked about frames when we were starting. So when I zoom in into my into my timeline, you can see something called 14F, 16F, 18F, 20F. So these are your frames. So what this means is that at this particular point, this is a frame that was captured. Now when I move this and that frame that was captured, when I move this and that frame that was captured, when I move this and that frame that was captured. Just like as we have in sound, we have beats per minute. So if you're someone who's familiar with music, you know there's beats per minute, how many beats is being played per minute, how many, I don't really understand how that works, but it really works at the same way as video editing because I've tried to learn sound music production by myself some time ago, so I also know a little bit about that. But this is just what it does. This is just what it does. You can see these are two frames. So this frame one, it captures this, and then it captures another when the bike move an inch forward. So that's how it just does and combines everything for you to have a full video. So a little bit of digression, and let's jump back into the topic. So let's turn on our magnets, and then we can go back. So another cool thing you can do, you can adjust the clip of your video, this length of your video. You can even also cut it. Let's say I only want this side, I don't want this side. I can easily come here and split, and then I can press my delete key and delete that place. So that's that. I also have a lot other thing here. So delete left, delete right is also same thing as split. But what delete left does is I'm placing my player here. I'll call this player. I can't remember the right word for it at the moment. Player or pointer. I'm placing it here, and then I want to delete everything on my right, all the video on my right. I can just come here and say delete right. So it clears that, it cuts it and deletes it. And if I also want, I can say delete left, and then it clears it, delete it. But if I want to delete the entire clip, I can come here and say delete, it clears it. But notice when I delete, I still have it on my media. So if eventually I need it, I can just quickly drag it back into my timeline again. So your media is a very important aspect of your video editing when you talk of CapCut. So I have all of these other things too, which I might not really be looking at today because of time, and I will just go into some other aspect of the videos, video editing, and we can try to create a very small clip that is just for me to demonstrate some more things, and then we can see how it works. So for us to start, I will delete this, and then I will go into my videos, and see what I am which of the videos I haven't edited previously, and then we can try to make use of it during this class. So let me see, I should have it on my contents. Yeah, so I have tons of videos which are still raw videos that I haven't touched at all. So let's check this new folder. Yeah, we have videos here, and yes, we have a couple of videos, but let's go back. I would want to make use of something that is very recent. Okay, so in order not to waste time, let's just make use of anything we have at this point. Let me see these folders. It's definitely not inside that. So let's just make use of this new folder and make use of video. So for me, what I like to do is I'm someone who is really interested about views. I see something, I see like a tall building, I capture it on my phone, all of this stuff. So I see like architecture. I'm very interested about architecture structures. I see those things, I capture it. I try to capture every moment that seems fun or that seems emotional or fantastic to me. So that's why I have all of these shots, and what I just basically do is edit them into trendy Instagram audios, which we'll try today. So let's say I come here, I take one of these clips. Let's say I'm trying to use something I haven't used before. Mm, let's take this. And one thing is I can just drag this into my CapCut and place it on my timeline directly. So I can do that. Or if you just want a longer process or a better process, you can just come into your import or your media and then import your video. So I can import that, and for the audio we'll be going with something simple. So I can delete all of this and then just go into my audio. Let's import. And we on downloads. So I download a lot of videos, a lot of audios, and I also teach you guys how to download trending audios on Instagram, and also download sound effects if you are looking for a sound effect that is not on on what do you call it, on CapCut. How to download what do you call it, commercial license free songs. So there are some things there are also some legal part of video editing that you also need to be aware of, and we'll get through before we end the class. I will try to ensure I go through those things so you can also be aware. Let me see if I have a song on here. There's an Instagram reel song. Yeah, I don't know which one is this, but this is definitely an Instagram reel song because it says real audio. And we can play. Let's just drag it. Because of its length. So let's try another one. Just give me a minute to find it. I'll try the most recent one actually. Let's try it. Okay. This is like a second. Let's just do something quite short, or let me see. Let's try one more time if you can find a better audio to use. Now, definitely you can create your own audio yourself, but those are still like a more advanced process. That's literally you are taking sound design from scratch. So you are designing your own sound from scratch from the beginning, and that's like a tough process, and that might not really be achievable with CapCut at the moment. So we are going to use an already produced sound and then sync or match our videos to that particular sound. So let's make it of this sound. We have this. This is just like a very simple sound. After that, what I'll just do is there's something in audio also called beats, and then we have that's that's something regarding the beats per minute. So when you look at this, you can hear sorry, let me play it. You can hear one, two, three, all of this stuff. So what we'll do is we'll sync our audio to match most of these beat drops to give the video and the audio more clarity and then more coherence. So if I'm to start, I'll say now the video starts here, the audio starts, we know the start is good. Now the next drop I'll just have to see is another thing for you to see the beat drops is you can make use of this waveform, so you can see how it rises and it drops. So when I see that the on my audio layer, when I see this rising, I know that this a bit drop, so this a bit. And then when I see it dropping and then rising again, I know this a bit. And when you see, I don't know if you can see, but there is this red aspect of it. When you see those reds, that means the audio is very loud. That means it's almost getting very loud. So those parts are also like places you should take note of and then just try to sync your video to. So instead of me listening and then trying to pause, I can just literally take my slider or my player back here and know that this is where the second beat was dropped, and then match my audio, my video to sync to it. So yeah, so let's start from the beginning. So we have so I know I'm coming here. I can just come back to my clip and then drag it to this point. So we have it here, and then the same thing, I do the same thing over again. I can take my second audio and then just drag it to that particular point, and then we can also import the third and fourth audio on video rather. I hope we are all understanding, and if you have any questions, I'll definitely answer them as soon as possible. Let's just stay follow along. So let's look for the videos again. Sorry. Yeah, we're back in our videos folder, and then I can just look for another video I will love. I love this one, so I can put it in. And another thing you can also do is you can also add or import more videos, more than one video at once. So I can also drag this. So I just into this. Then we know the beat drop is coming on the next rise on the waveform that we have. So I can adjust my clip to it. And currently this is all we have. So I'm just doing something very simple because of the time and because it's a class to help you get to know more of the functionality than just what you have in mind. So you need to know how it works before you know how you can make use of it in any crazy way that you have. So I've imported 3 clips at once to make it faster. So I can just drag my next clip and put it in here, and then just like the same process, we can drag our slider to this point and then adjust. And if you don't want to keep adjusting, you can make use of what I used the other time, which is I can drag my slider here and then just go to my tools and say delete right. So that's also very simple. So we know the next bit drop and we can just put something. Let's just import more clips. I will import 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, let's import like 5. So we just continue the same process. So delete right because we don't need it, and then I do the same thing again. Drag it to my bit drop. Drag it to my drag it to my bit drop. Now another thing is you might notice that the video is kind of a little bit slow, or like my CapCut is very slow in processing all of these videos as I'm dragging them. That's because they're high quality videos. That means they hold a lot of size. The size of one of the videos can be around 200 MB, 700 MB, all of this stuff. And when you're dragging it into your timeline, CapCut is literally just compressing and ensuring that all these videos are in your timeline and are performing very well for you to watch them, for CapCut to process it, and for you to see it on your timeline all at the same time. So if sometimes you are having rendering issue, what CapCut is doing is CapCut is rendering all of these video files for you to see on your player. So when CapCut is having trouble in rendering all of these video files, what you can do is you can take your mouse, select all of this, select all of everything on your timeline. You can do this by just dragging the way I did, or just do Control A, right click, and right click on a place that doesn't have any footage. Wait, okay, let's try that again. There's supposed to be range. There's supposed to be a render function. Sorry. Okay, we can find that actually. So, but if you are using it, probably because I'm using an older version, but there's supposed to be a range and then a render. What it does is, instead of you having all of this and then it's lagging to render it for you, what it does is you just prompt it to render it before you continue. Another thing you can do is you can come to these three dots on your player, and then you click on it and then preview quality. You don't want to preview, do you want to have quality of your footage when you're editing, or you want performance? You want it to be able to play smoothly without any lag. So it depends on what you want, and then you can proceed. So, but if you are trying to use, if you continue to use CapCut, there's definitely a range and then a render. That's also like very functional. So let's continue with our clips, and we have enough clips already. Let's just drag all this, and then we won't think about, won't have to start adding any more clips. So just do with what we have because of time. So I can call this, and I can drag in the last one, or we can just leave the last one as it is. So I have all of this now. You can see. So you can see the way the beat is dropping, the video is in sync with all of these things, and it just makes your video more appealing to watch compared to when you just dropped a whole length of video and then the audio is doing what it wants, the video is doing what it wants. Now, when you are watching this video, there are some another thing you should notice: your video should carry a specific style or a specific voice. Do you want the video to be something that is slow and emotional? Do you want the video to be something that is fast and engaging and fun? So when you're watching this, there is an odd clip somewhere. You can try to guess the odd clip. Out of everything I'm watching, there's something odd out of all the videos I am playing. So the odd one is, one thing you will notice is all of these clips are mostly something that is very short and something that is very still. That means the video itself is not moving. But when you come to this particular section, this is a moving frame, a moving video. Now it's giving a very odd vibe compared to every other thing I have on my timeline. So what we can do here is either we slow this particular video down, we slow it down, and to slow down your off video, what you can do is click on the video you want, go to your properties panel, go to speed, and then I can just easily drag it down, slow it down. And when I'm slowing it down, another thing regarding slowing a video down is it goes back to what I talked about regarding frames per second. So when I'm slowing this video down, that means I'm telling my editing software that the frame per second showing on this particular footage is too much. Can you help me reduce it? So that means that's basically what I'm doing, slowing down by slowing it down. So when I slow it down, that's what happens, but it won't be as smooth as it is. So let's watch it. You can see it's kind of shaky. It might not be noticeable, but to someone who has worked a lot with videos, that's not a very good slow motion video or slow down video. That's why CapCut added this function, which is called smooth slow mo. So, and you can either use frame blending or optical flow. So what frame blending does is, frame blending, in all of those frames that are being slowed down, CapCut helps you input is a new frame in between those frames, so it won't have to just keep cutting in between, and then you're able to have a frame in between all of those cuts that you have when you adjusted your frame from maybe 30 fps to another fps. So when you apply this is better, and then you can have something that is more smoother. But I don't like this. This can be used for another effects. For me, what I use is I generally use this optical flow because it's better and it's more good if depending on what you're trying to do. So it's very slow and you cannot wait. So just probably move on. And you can see it's still playing in slow mo, but that's that. And we have just a few things before we end this video and everything like that. So one thing, another thing you should notice, the my colors are just changing. This is very bright, this is less bright, this is somehow dark, this is blue, this is bright, this is not. All of these things are corrected with what we call a color grading. So color grading, color correction, that's where you just alternate alter the colors inside the video to match a specific style that you want. So if you are looking for something that is nostalgic, that means something that has that has to do with history, maybe like something that has to do with something in the past. So it has like this kind of orange colors, it has a lot of lights, all of those stuff. That's the feel you are trying to get. If you're trying to get the feel that is very horror movie, it's an horror movie, you make use of that color. If you're trying to make use of, give it the feel that is just something of being in peace, freedom, all of the stuff, sweet and calm, you use something that are kind of mild and not very, very sharp. So that means you tone down a lot of things and make it look less of something that is very sharp and just something very simple and gentle, something very soft. So all of these things are just majority of things that can alter the way your video is being perceived. An example I will give is a very popular horror movie. But what they did in the horror, I can't remember the title, but you can just type it from what search for it on Google. It's what I said. It's an horror movie about a girl who was in a cult and was trying to escape. But instead of the producers of that movie, instead of making use of your typical dark colors in horror movies, they made it just it's an horror movie, but the color grading was that of like a love movie. So it's kind of having contrasting color grading and contrasting themes, and that was very intentional because that's what the producer wanted to give the audience. You are watching something that is just as bright and as beautiful as this, but then the action is being performed as dark and as gloomy as it can be. So those are some of the things that are also applied in movie production, videos, and everything like that. So it's more of the editing part, is just also how creative can you be when you talk of all of these videos. So that's all we have, and then this has been slowed down properly. We can just see the difference. You can see the difference compared to the other one of frame blending. So if you're looking for something smoother, just make use of the optical flow instead of the frame blending version. So we have this now. So we have a part that was not properly aligned to the audio, so I can adjust this, and then we have this. So there are two or three ways for you to color grade your videos inside of CapCut. The first way is to make use of existing color grades. Basically, they are called LUTs. So it's just like the way you have images, and your images file extensions are called JPEG. We also have all of these color grade and filters, they are called LUTs. So I can just easily go to Google and say, okay, I want the color grading used in, let me think of a popular movie. What's this movie? Squid Game. So I can say LUT file, LUT file for Squid Game. So you see Squid Game was color graded in a way, and you'll be able to see people who have tried to replicate the color grading of Squid Game, and then you can see so Lightroom preset, LUTs, so you can see all of those things, and then you can just try to get it and see everything. So some of this might be paid, you might not get some for free, but sometimes you can get it for free. So depends on you. And if you are ready, you can just also follow some of these tutorials. So I also advise you make use of a lot of Google. If you are finding something you don't understand, just type it on Google, blah blah blah, this is what I want. You might get answers, you might not. So but Google is a very, very good tool for you to make use of. So yeah, that's that. And while we come to filters, I was explaining how to do this in CapCut. You can go to your filters and select any filter that you want. They have tons of it. But if you're trying to shoot, if you're someone that shoots outdoors videos like me, a very good filter for you will be Bad Bunny, because Bad Bunny is one of the best filters on CapCut. So the Bad Bunny filter is very, very good and adjusts your video properly. But for example, this is too much. I can come to my properties panel and just reduce and say, okay, that's too much. I just want to drop it down a little bit. Now, when you come to your timeline, you can see we have a filter layer with this icon here, a video layer, and audio layer. So I can say I want to hide this, I want to lock it, anything I want, or I want to reduce the opacity or the strength. Now, if I hide it, you can see the difference it creates in the video. So now this can give you a certain type of vibe. It can give you any vibe you want. But let's say we are not using Bad Bunny and we want to create our own adjustments for all the videos. Now, another thing you should notice, if you are putting, remember what you said about our layer, all this is on top of my videos layer. Now that means everything inside this Vita filter is being applied across all of my videos because it's on top of it. The way the layers are arranged, that's how they will be arranged on your player. So it's arranged on top of it. Now let's say we want to add a custom, a manual one. I don't want to make use of the filter on CapCut. I can go to my adjustments. I can go to my adjustments. If I have a lot, let's say I downloaded one from one of these, I can easily bring it in and see. I can come to my lots. These are the ones I've imported. You can see I have the lots for the lot file or the code file for Breaking Bad. I have the one for Prison Break, for Peaky Blinders, many things like that. So most of these resources you can also find them on Instagram. Those people on creators on Instagram that says if you want this thing, just comment cube. I will send it to your DM for free. Follow those guys. There are a lot of resources that you can get for them for free. So, but if I don't want to make use of all of those preset I have, I can create an adjustment layer. So the same way my filter layer will be applied across all of the layers underneath, that's the same way my adjustment layer will be applied. Now when I add an adjustment layer, when I come to this section, you can see I have these properties which are basic, HSL, curves, and that's it. Now these are just something, the things that will allow me to adjust my colors. Now one thing about this is using this custom adjustment and just placing it on one of these layers is you are applying the same thing on all of your footage, but your footage have different features. Like some are lighted differently, some are darker than each other, but what this adjustment layer does is just give the same thing. So excuse me. So that's not really an ideal way, but you are trying to do something fast, you can make use of that. But for you to do it individually is also something very professional, because be able to tweak each of those clips the way it needs to be, not the way all the clips needs to be, because this one is darker and this one is lighter. They need to be color graded in different ways, and you cannot just be applying just something one on all of the footages. But let's just go through how you can make use of this adjustment layer, because if you are trying to adjust for each of these individual clips, that's the same way you make use of it. So as I select my adjustment layer, I go to temperature. I can say, okay, I want it to be yellow, to be nostalgic, blah blah blah. Temperature is just what type of color or what type of feel do you want to give to that particular image, and then the color is what should the overall feel or the overall color should look like. And then you have saturation. Saturation is just the level of color, because when you talk about colors, you have different shades of color. So you can bump up the saturation a lot for the color to pop, but then so much of this is very bad because you're destroying your footage and then it looks like very unrealistic. You can just add a little bit. Um, Color grading is very, very important, and then it takes time to learn. And tools like DaVinci Resolve can help you color grade better than tools like CapCut. For my own personal content, I make use of DaVinci Resolve because I'm able to adjust the colors the way I want. But for others, maybe I'm editing a video for someone, something like that. I just make use of CapCut because that's not my that's not my project. And for brightness, it's just, do you want it to be very bright, increase the brightness, that's too bright, or you want to be very dark, depending on your choice. That's almost the same thing for contrast. Then we have our lights. Most of these things is just about playing with it and seeing what it does, then knowing how you can tweak it. So Another thing about also color grading is you don't just start editing and say I'm changing this, I'm changing this. What you need to do is you need to take a look at the footage. Okay, there is a lot of green in this side. I can actually increase the green a little bit more to make it better. Or maybe, oh, this part of this image, this overall look of this image is too bright. Let me reduce the darkness. Let me make it a little bit dark, or let me reduce the light in this image, in this video. So collaborating is not just taking all the sliders and just moving them. It's looking for defects in the video and then trying to adjust them, and then you can then think of the overall feel you want to give your video. So you can say, oh, this the trees in this, the greenery in this video is not green enough. I can go and say, okay, I can come to my HSL, select green color, and say I'll just bump up the saturation for only the green colors, because that's the only thing I want to make change of. But I feel like, okay, the oranges of this paints in the building is not that good enough. I can select the orange color and then just do the same thing and bump it up and say that's the two things I want to change, and say the sky looks good, this plant look good. That's the little thing I want to change in my footage. So that's just something like that. Some people, some videos editors are like that. You also go back to color complementary colors. You have triadic colors, and I can't remember the other color combination types that we have. But if you're making a video and you just want, I think you should watch this movie by the person starred in this movie is this guy that played, I'm trying to very hard to remember his name. Um, in this Gray, there's this movie that Netflix released. It's called Gray something. Yeah, Gray, the main character in Gray, and then the lady who played the wife of the girlfriend of Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2. They did like a love movie together, and inside that movie, the color grading was like just red and yellow, where the colors standing out. So that's what the producers or directors of that movie want. So majority of the other colors are not really as visible, but they just made use of those two complementary colors, red and yellow. And when they are collaborating, those are the most two colors that pop out of across all of those movies. So movies are also a great way for you to know what you are trying to edit, get inspiration, get ideas. You know the deal. Yeah. So because of time, let's just um talk about color grading and we can stop here. We also have curves. Curves also works like the way brightness works. So but curves is very tricky. So even me, I'm still trying to understand curves very deeply. So curves is very tricky, very tricky. But if you know you don't really understand curves very deeply, you can still ignore it. But if you understand it, it's also like a very big deal for you in taking your video editing skills up. Yeah. So that's for the adjustments. But the last way to do adjustments is because I have this, you can just see, because I have this footage and it's different from the other footage. I can select this footage and say, and come to my adjustments and say I only want to give this particular video an adjustment. So because it's not on top of all of these other footages, it won't affect them. It will only affect the footage that I'm clicking on. So for example, one thing I want to do here is I want to reduce the brightness a lot because that's very, very bright. And the reason why it's very bright is because I think it was during the evening and I need a lot of light to be able to capture what I'm trying to shoot. I can't really remember, but yeah. So I can say I want to reduce the brightness. I want to make it the greenery appear. I can see a blue, so I can say let's go to my HSL and select blue color and try to bump up the blue and see if it would actually, yeah, you can see it like changing, but it's very not visible. You can see. So those are just some of the editing, oh sorry, editing capabilities. So I can just reduce this out of my footage. Sorry. Yeah, so we have this, and now remember I'm only applying this to this footage. So I can come back to my basic and you should say, okay, what do I want to feel in this video? Let's say we make it like this. um and I can also see some red, so I can also even go back and say You can bump up the red a little bit for this red to also come out. Just depends on what you want generally. And if it's also fine, you can just have a filter applied to everything. So let's just go back to how it was in the beginning and just leave. The only thing we'll basically leave is the brightness adjustment that we made, and let's just turn this on. So we didn't really make a lot of editing here. We just suggested a few colors and we left it that way. So that's that on color grading, just a beginning beginner's course on color grading and color correction. And if you want to like keep developing this, you can also make use of YouTube. So the last thing I'll touch on is I mentioned sound design. Now when we come here, I have this footage. I will just unmute my footage real quick. What do you expect to hear in this type of footage? It's on the streets, a lot of cars passing by. You want to hear horns, you want to hear the sound of a car passing by you, that whoosh that happens. You want to hear all of those things, but because my mic is very, very bad, I don't really have all of those sounds. So what you can do is you can make use of TikTok's, sorry, I said TikTok, CapCut's audio sound effects panel, and just come to audio, select sound effects, type in the sound effect that you want. Let's say you can see I've had some searches. I said car starting, shutter, sniff, rise, group laugh, laugh, cut, slice. So I'm always looking for sound effect that I can use. So for me, let's say I'm looking for a car on. So I can just say car on. Now, sometimes you might not find all the sound effects you are looking for in your CapCut, but if you can't find it, I can tell you, I can give you some sites where you can find good sound effects and even download them for free. So I have a car on. If I don't want to import them, I can just try to play and see. So you can hear that, and you can play a lot of them and see what. Yeah, so let's just say we add this. This is just to give the atmosphere, to make the atmosphere very, very to make the atmosphere a bit original. So let's play. Now that is feeling weird, but there are tons of ways you can adjust it properly, because the is coming out of the original sound. This should be like the flat sound that is consistent throughout the whole video. Then the other sound can just be subordinate sound designs. So what I'll do for this audio is I'll come back to my properties panel and just reduce the volume a little bit. So the reason why it's sounding weird is because all of the others does not have proper sound design. So this one is just like the odd one. But if you are doing it, you can also add like proper sound effects and everything like that. For example, this small house and everything, what you will just basically do, because I shot this from the top of a very high building, I can add something that's like windy, because there's a lot of wind when you talk of very high buildings. Add a wind flapping effect, sound effects, add it to it. That'll be very helpful. I think there was one of the clips where it was showering, like raining a little bit. You can find sound effects online that have that, add it to it, and tons of sound effects like that. So let's just hide this so it don't disrupt our video. We can put this in full screen and just see the little thing we've been able to create. So it wasn't mashing in the end, but we had a good mash in the beginning. So yeah, that's it. And one last thing, because it's important, we have text. So for your text on CapCut, you can come here and add your text. You can come to the top. Let's say I want to add text, and for the text I have the sound. So I want to add this sound to how this text to how the sound move. So I can come here, add the text. I can cut the text to the clip of the video, because that's what I want. And let's just say the name of majority of the hotel inside this clip is Let Me Go Hotel in Kigali, and I can add my Let Me Go text. Now one thing also about adding text is your text should be beautiful. It's about the fonts, and the fonts is just the style of the handwriting, I'll put it in a basic term, the handwriting of your text. That's what is called your font. So is it curve? Is it straight? What does it look like? Now, for me, I basically use our fonts that are kind of classy. I can also give you websites to download fonts and then just install them. So let's just use something like Recoleta, which is this font that is there's kind of a little bit looking classy. And then when I add that, when I change the font, I can come and increase the size. Let's leave it like this. This sounds good. This looks good. And then move to the next clip. This is not let me go, but we'll assume it's let me go. So what I can do is, since I'm using the same style of text here, instead of starting from the beginning, adding one, I can do Control C on my keyboard, and then do Control V, and then just say let me go hotel, add it. There's a problem here. We have a problem of contrast because I can barely read what is written, but let's ignore that. We are breaking a design rule. We can ignore that for now, and then I just do the same thing for the third one. So we have this, and then I can Control C, Control V, and just say Kigali. So when we play it, we don't have the first drop. So what we can do for the first drop is I can expand the view of my timeline and actually see where this music starts, because this is my waveform, and we can see that it starts like a little second before. So for me to adjust this, because I'm having my magnet tool on, I'll turn off my magnet tool, select all my clips, and then just move it to where my player is. So when I play now, I have this. So that's quite and literally better than what we have previously. So that's that. Another thing you can also do with your text is you can give it um some sort of animation. You can have a pop-up typewriter depending on what you want. Sorry. So a pop-up is an example, and the pop-up is coming from the top. You can select the direction, you can select the length you want that effect to run for. So I'm selecting it to happen for like 0.5 seconds. So that's that. Another thing is, don't use a lot of effects. This word the word currently, the design word, is more focused on something minimal, so you wouldn't want to use a lot of effects except there's a need for it. So let's say we've finished all of our videos. What I can basically just do is, we like the video. Let's assume I can come to export. Export means I want to save my video, so I can come to my export. We are almost done, and then say, oh, the title of video is let me go. I can select where I want to save it. I want to save it inside particular folder, all of those stuff. Let's say I want to save it on my downloads. Another thing about video exporting is we have certain quality formats. We have 1080p, we have 480p, we have 2K, we have 4K. So it depends on where you are using the video. If you are using the video on platforms like Instagram, you can export at 1080p, because even if you export as 4K, Instagram will still compress your video to 1080p, because that's the resolution that Instagram as an application or as a product can handle at the moment. So for you not to have that compression, just leave it at 1080p. When you upload, Instagram leaves it at 1080p, compared to when you save as 2K, and then um, Instagram compresses it. So, but don't ever upload at 480p or 720p except there's a need for that, because it's a very low quality. Let's say start from 1080p, 2K, or maybe 4K. And then we have bitrate. You can leave it at recommended, because it just looks at your video and give you the best format for you. We have your codec. So these codecs are like compression methods, because you can have sometimes, don't you always wonder sometimes why a video that is like 1 hour long is just 33 MB? That's because of the codec format. So the codec you also choose depends on how quality your video will be, but H.264 is also a good codec format. And then we have your formats, which is .mp4 or .mov. Leave it as .mp4, and then you have your frame rate. So if you are someone who shows the frame rate before you start recording, you can pick the frame rate you choose. But if you just start recording, you just press on record. 30 fps is what it shoots at automatically most devices, so you can leave it as that, and then just click on export, and it will export your video to your desired location with your desired settings. Now when we wanted to export, so let me go back to those things I mentioned. You can see it says run a copyright check. The reason being, every audio, every music you are listening to, you are making use of in your video, have a copyright claim. Majority of them. So if I want to edit a video and post it on YouTube or Instagram Reels, and I want to use a song by a popular musician, let's say Johnny Drill from Nigeria, Johnny Drill is copyrighting his music, especially for commercial uses. So if your handle on Instagram is a business handle, or your page on TikTok is a business page, they won't allow you to use that song, because that you don't have a commercial license for you to use that song. So even on YouTube, if you don't have a commercial license, your video will be copyright striked. So that means if you are using song of popular musicians, you can't do that, because you are liable to make money from that audio, and you don't have a commercial license to be able to do that. So for you to be able to have videos or music to use in your audio, in your videos, without having like copyright strike, commercial license stress, there's a website you can use called musicbed.com. So basically that's what I use. I just find the music I want, the music that are things, or that feels related to the video I'm trying to create, make use of it. Other times, if you're majorly thinking of content creation on places like Instagram, there are a lot of trending audios that you can make use of. Just go to instagram.com, get the link of the sound, go to a platform, a website like, sorry, give me a minute for it to load. So, okay, let me finish explaining this before I go to Instagram part. So we have songs. I can come to songs. I can find a perfect song. Let's say I want to edit video for a movie trailer. I can just search for trailer, and then it gives me all the songs that are related to movie trailers, or I can use in a trailer video. And most of these songs are not having a commercial license issue and everything like that. They have a license issue in some form, in some form. If you download a song from this place and you are not paying for the pro version, that means you'll be having a something called a watermark. So if you are playing it, it will have something called musicbed.com, the name of the website, except to pay before you can remove those. But there's a way to navigate that, and that's using a Google Chrome extension. So I use this Google Chrome extension, which is called, I can't even remember the name, Audio Downloader Prime. You can just type to Google download Audio Downloader Prime Chrome extension. What this Chrome extension does is it takes a look at the page I am currently, and then find all the audio files on that particular page, and gives me access to be able to download them. So I don't have to go through the stress of having musicbed.com inside of my audio when I download, using this download button. So that's an hack for you to bypass this. So instead of you thinking of, when I download, I have musicbed.com in the entire track, I can just make use of this plugin. I don't have that. I download it and I have my music for free. So making use of downloading audios from Instagram, you can make use of this site, which is fastvideosave.net/audio. It converts the Instagram video into an MP3. You can download and use inside your video. What other thing did I say I wanted to mention? Um, I can't remember, but I think that should be majority of it. that should be majority of it. So I hope that would be where I will end my CapCut classes, and if I send I remember, I will mention it and even the questions. So coming back to our slides, I hope we all understand CapCut, and by the questions time, I'll be able to take more classes, more answers. So coming back to our slide, we have AI for video editing. So sometimes you will just feel lazy, like, okay, I'm very lazy, I cannot start arranging these clips, everything like this. You can make use of an AI. One is one popular one is lumen.io. What lumen.io does for you is you just prompt it, okay, I want a video that talks about the colonization history in Africa, and this, that. It prepares the script for you. It gives you the audio clips from popular stock footages. Instead of you shooting camera by yourself, it's those people have recorded those footages and you can use for free. And you can even this just compiles all of those things and gives you a full video. And we also have Sora. Sora is by OpenAI, and I don't think they are already available for public. They might be or they are not. If they are not, it's until next year. What Sora does is, instead of using all these footages that people someone has recorded, what Sora does is the same way you tell ChatGPT, write a 20 word essay for me, a 200 words essay for me. You can go to Sora and tell him, okay, generate a video of a young woman wearing a red dress in New York Times Square and walking towards a Bugatti Lamborghini. And then Sora just does it for you. We might not be able to practicalize Sora and Lumen at this moment because his time is running out, but they are really great tools you can check out and make use of. And Sora, by the time Sora comes out, it will be very groundbreaking. And even there are video generators AI already on the market. You can just Google search, you'll find tons of them that you can use and just generate what you want. At this point of our lives of the world, what you just have to be is just be crazy with your thoughts and your ideas. That's literally what you need. So just be crazy with your thoughts and ideas. You literally have tools to bring this to life. All you just have to be is just be as creative as you can be. So I think that will be where I will be ending my class for today. I hope you guys enjoy the class. You guys were able to learn a few things regarding CapCut, editing, understand new things, and I hope you will implement all of these things and really be impressed or be curious to learn forward or to scale your understanding or to even make video editing a very massive career for you, because I wouldn't say the space as a video editor is saturated. We don't really have a lot of people doing it, and you can try to do it, but stand out on your own, have your own style and everything. And also another thing is follow people who do these things on Instagram instead of watching people dancing on Instagram. Follow people who tell you tips about videography, how to place your camera, how to adjust your camera, how to edit on CapCut. Follow all of these tips, watch all of their videos. But watching is not enough. Also practicalize it. They say, okay, you can remove a background in CapCut like this and put a text behind you. Try to do it by yourself and see what it looks like. One thing I can say is if you don't practicalize all of this, there's no way you master it. So first things first, be very creative, think in a new way, think in a new form. And to do that, you have to follow people that also think in a new way and think in new forms. And when you think in new ways and new forms, try to bring those new ways and new ideas to life by practicals. So that's all the advice I would have to give you, and I hope you guys are taking it with all seriousness. Thank you very much, and I will now hand over back to Theodora if for any questions available.
All right. Thank you so much, Olani. Oh my goodness. This session was packed and loaded. In fact, I've been using CapCut for years, but I just learned about some new features today. Thank you so much. Learned about color grading, how to pick the right filter, some technicalities, how they sync the audio to the videos, like it was very, very comprehensive, very in-depth. Thank you so, so, so much. So really quickly, we'll be taking questions from the chat. Okay, so the first question we have here is, when you put two audios, like layers for audio, if you play, do the sounds of both audios be heard? Okay, so I think the question is, if you put two audios together, like on layered above on top of each other, will both sounds be heard?
Yeah, the two sounds will be heard. For example, we have two layers of audios here, and we have the one for the real audio, and we have the one for the car on. So for you to hear the audio depend on how you the volume of each of the audios. For example, let's say I put the audio of the car on back to the normal volume. Now when I play it, you can hear the on, even though they are on top of each other. So if I don't want anyone to hear this car on, I can just come back to my properties panel and say I decrease the volume entirely, or I don't want them to hear it as much as possible. I can just reduce it a bit, and then you can't really hear it as loud as before. But if you have two layers of audio, even three, four, five, as much as you want, all of them will play as long as the volumes are the same, but you might hear one more than the other. That's just one of the only difference. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. You can stop sharing. Okay, no, never mind. So another question, we'll just take two more questions because of time. This person says, if you zoom in or out the video, does it reduce time for the video or speed?
If you zoom in, no, it doesn't. So let's say I am editing something on my video here, but I want this hotel, the bottom line of this hotel, I want it to be placed. Okay, let's use the top line, the top of this hotel. I want it to align with this what do you call it, these wires I have here. So what I'm doing is I'm zooming in into my player, so I can actually click on my hotel and drag it up and say, okay, that's perfect. That's in my player. It doesn't affect my video generally. I'm just zooming in so I can make my placements properly. So I can zoom out and then my video still remain the same. But if I come to my clip and say, okay, I want to scale it, I want to zoom this clip, that it affects the timeline itself. So I can come back to my video and say I scale it. So I zoom in like this. You can see that there's a difference in these two things. So I scale in like this and then I leave it. So what you notice is when I zoom in here, everything that is on this thing, on this player, is zooming in, including the hotel. When I zoom in here, the only thing zooming in is what I clicked on. So it doesn't slow down your clips. The only thing it just does is it zooms in, basically. That's what it happens.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I hope that answered your question, Rachel. So there's a difference between the zoom and the scale. Yes. Okay, so final question. Is it possible to remove background noise using CapCuts?
Yes, it's possible. Let's see if you can remove this guy from this background. Let's see if it's possible. Let's see if you can do that. For it to be possible automatically, your subject, I want to go into on the part of technicality. So when you're looking at a video or an image, there's something called the subject, the background, or the object. So the subject of the image is the main character of that image. Just like when you're watching a movie, Batman or Superman is the main character in a Superman movie. When you talk about Batman, Superman and Batman are the main characters inside of that movie. So when I'm looking at this image now, this image does not really have a subject. If it would have a subject, this is the subject of this image. And sometimes it's not good for your image or your picture or your video to not have a subject, because it doesn't have any meaning to it at the end of the day if it doesn't have a subject. So sometimes try to the way you capture it, try to ensure it have a subject. So most time the subject of your video is the main character, or like the most prominent visual thing inside of that image. So I can say, let's say this one is the main, this guy is the main is the subject of this image or this video. I can go to cutouts. When I go to video, I go to cutouts. I can use a chroma key. A chroma key is if you are using a green screen. So if you're someone fascinated by behind the scenes or big movie productions, you can see they always have this very, for example, let's say for example, Spider-Man. I'm a very big Marvel movie fan. So I think Spider-Man Far From Home, when he was fighting Doctor Octopus, Octavius on the train, no, on the bridge, and he was trying to rescue some people. All those bridge, all those cars, all of those things are absolutely fake. They were shooting it behind a very big green screen, and what they do is they create the models of all the bridge and everything, put it, remove him with just a simple chroma key. So if I'm having a green here or even any color, I can just pick it and say, okay, I want to remove the color yellow from all of this footage. And then I can pick it and say, okay, this is the strength, this something, yeah. So this the strength, but majorly color green works. So, but if I want something automatic, I can come to auto cut. So only human figure can be cut out. So it processes it and then look for the human figure and removes them from the background of my footage. It may be very slow, but because of time, I can answer next questions. And when you process, I can just show it.
Okay, yes, thank you for that. Although I think the person meant noise, like sound noise.
Sound noise.
Could you
Oh,
maybe quickly, yeah, show us
okay.
how?
Okay, if you want to remove sound noise, I think let me see if I can do that here. Let's just drag this to another layer so we can have the audio. Yeah, you have noise reduction here, but this is not really efficient in CapCut. If you want to use, if you maybe you are recording a video and you're using a mic, but the mic was capturing background noise, if an online tool I will make use of, I will advise you to use is called Adobe Podcast. So Adobe Podcast. So when you go to Adobe Podcast, you have like enhanced speech remove, something like that. So it just AI audio filter here. So what you just do is you save the video, you save the audio, and if you are someone who recorded the audio and the video together, you can make use of CapCut to separate the audio. So I can come here and say I want to separate the audio and apart from the video on this particular video. I can just right click and say extract audio. I have the audio, and then I can delete everything else on my timeline, save that particular audio, and then just upload it here. When I upload it, you see I've done an example. When I upload it, I can click on enhance page, and then it just does its job. So it removes all the background noise and just make only your voice or only what you want to be prominent or subject inside of your audio more
Mhm.
clear. Yeah, that's for audio.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So because of time, those are all the questions we can take. But if there are any more questions, we'll definitely relay them to you so that you can help the participants answer. So yeah, you can stop sharing your screen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank Olani in the chat. Thank you, Olani. We learned so much from this session. I hope you did too. Matter of fact, I'm going to rewatch this session myself because there's so many things that I want to go back to, reiterate on from this session. Thank you. Thank you so much, Olani. All right. Okay, so we've already gone through the Q&A session. Yes, many more thank yous. So if you enjoyed the session, if you learned something from the session, please feel free to post it on your social media and tag us at nexogirls on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, nexogirls. Tag us so that we can repost your thoughts and your insights from the session. All right, and then we'll also be sending a feedback form tonight as well. So make sure you fill that in so that you could also get the chance to have your comments featured on our next session on Monday. All right. So very quickly, we're just going to take a picture. Let me go back to the beginning of the slides. Yes. Oh, okay. I'll actually just stop sharing. So next to girls, we have a signature pose, which is the heart Naji. So, Olani, if you could just turn on your camera real quick for us to just take our signature pose, and then we call it a day. It's been a fully packed session today. Thank you so much. Yes, so it's just the heart hand sign like this. Yeah. Are you ready? Yes, okay. Cheers. Yeah, thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Olaniyi. Thank you for everyone who joined, who stayed till the end. Thank you for all our participants. And if you're rewatching this, thank you for rewatching this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we'll see you all on Monday, same time, same place. Do not miss the session. All right? Take care, everyone. Bye.